Okay, thank you guys for coming. Somehow I got elected as kind of a moderator, but we'll try to include everyone. So I guess we will start with round of intros. So everyone will tell a bit about each other, what we do, and then we'll take it from there. So
You go first.
Vlad, you want to go first?
I wanna go first, I guess.
You're a great beatboxer. We know that. Now you can tell us what a great expert you are.
Am I? I will let others decide. Let's say. Hello, everybody. My name is Vlad Kampov. I'm a staff software engineer at Netflix. I'm working in the content studio side or content and business products mainly. For Ukrainian speaking people, I also were a host of podcast GPT. It is still a thing, and maybe we will do a New Year edition of that. No promises, but maybe I will find some time for that. And why I'm here, it is because I'm also a co-founder of the mentorship platform called mentor.sh that connects mentees with mentors and enable mentors to offer their expertise worldwide to any people who are interested in the development.
Yeah. And your core background is engineering, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, let's give a round of applause. Okay, Pavlo.
Well, firstly, thanks a lot for coming. When we just arrived, we were like, oh my God, no one's here. We're going to talk to an empty room. So big shout out to everyone who's come. Thanks a lot. My name is Pavlo or Pasha, whatever is easier for you. I'm originally from Ukraine, as you can recognize from my sweet Eastern European accent. I've spent most of my life doing product for other people. Now I'm doing product for myself. I used to be a PM at companies like Preply, you might have heard of, big marketplace for language learning. Then after that, I led a $20 billion scope at Wise.com, which is a big fintech out of the UK, one of the biggest fintechs in our part of the world. And after that, I left to co-found what is called Massima, which is a marketplace for parents to find math tutors. And we are fairly big in Ukraine, and we are growing quite rapidly in Poland. So it's either massima.me or massima.pl, whatever fits your sort of a language preference. And yeah, that's probably it, right?
Yeah, that's a great intro. Thanks.
Well, now it's your turn.
Yeah, shout out to Pasha. Yeah, okay. So we have a person with background in engineering, person with background in product, and they are actually experts. So I have tried so many things, from being biz dev at startup to venture capital to marketing in big FMCG corpos. You can thank me for Winston with double capsule on Ukrainian market. I will burn in hell for that, I know. And yeah, for the last 3 years, I'm building companies at SKELAR. Now I'm founder of and CEO at RiseGuide. We do a self-improvement app where we teach people on the examples or insights of role models and top experts. And yeah, that's kind of...
So what made you a founder? Let's kick off with that. You were doing your nice VC job. The way I imagine VC job is drinking cocktails on the boat.
Yeah, VC job is really nice. You know,
so you were doing that, and you're like, I can't be bothered anymore. I really want to become a founder. Why?
To go into shit. Yeah, that was literally it. So how did it happen? I never wanted to be a founder, to be honest. I don't have all these stories, I was selling whatever when I was 15 years old. I founded my first company. I always did side hustles. No, never. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. But then I had a friend. He used to be the 5th employee at SKELAR, and he's one of the co-founders. He used to be first CPO, and he was always trying to headhunt me. Once a quarter, he would tell me, Sasha, you should come join us. I would say, no, I don't want this. IT thing is shady and stuff like that. But then he was threatening me with Max, and he was constantly threatening me with Max. You'll meet Max, you will not say no. At some point, I gave up. I say, okay, introduce me to Max. I will tell him to go and do his thing, whatever. Then when we met, he actually, dig deeper into my childhood traumas and stuff like that. And we found out that I want to be like successful in what I do. Being an entrepreneur is probably the best thing you can do in business at all, because as he told me, that Forbes doesn't write about venture capitalists, but they do write a lot about entrepreneurs. And I thought, yeah, actually they do. I want to be cool. That's why I want to be an entrepreneur. And that's how it happened, basically.
So there are lots of people out there, probably even in this room, who dream of becoming a founder. And you were like, no, I don't want it. And somebody made you?
Yeah. That was actually the case. I needed to be persuaded that that's like my career.
Yeah.
And then when I had the second meeting with guys, I was having dinner with Valery, who is CFO at SKELAR. And I already had this idea that I want to be an entrepreneur. And he asked me, like, what is your plan? And I told him, like, 5-year plan, how I will become founder, what I need to do, what resources I need to accumulate, what people I need to meet. And then he was looking at me, he was staring at me for like 20 seconds. And he said, like, Sasha, you look like such a smart guy, but you split this utter nonsense. Why do you need to do something in 5 years? What you can do in 2 years? Come, and in 2 years you'll be a founder. And that's how it happened. But yeah, that's what's their like headhunting strategy for me, basically.
That is super interesting. I wonder if there's any lesson learned that you can share with the people apart from you need to know the right people.
It actually taught me a lot about headhunting,
Headhunting.
Yeah, because now what I always do, because like cool people, they are not looking for a job. Like they never do, right? The job opportunities, they found them. And when I do that, when I talk with such people, I always try to understand like their drivers, what drives them, what are their like hidden desires and what is their like ultimate goal. And then I create those opportunities for them as they did for me, because, and that was my like main takeaway from that. But in the process, I actually got to enjoy building a company. Vlad, maybe you want to share how you started a company, how you started Mentor SH.
Whenever people consider Mentor SH whenever people name it a startup or a company, I'm like, is it really? But in reality, it is. It is a company, but we also...
do you have legal entity?
We do.
Yeah, you are. Do you have a website?
We do.
Do you have a logo?
No, I'm going to teach you to be an entrepreneur. You see, they have so many people right now, and all of them want to hire a mentor tonight.
Yeah.
So tell them about your business and tell them the URL so they can write it down and book a session tonight. I'm going to increase your MRR like in one night. Just go ahead.
Sell them this pen.
Yeah, please register at mentor.sh. No, to answer that, I'm coming from the engineering, right? And for all my life, since I was a child or a teenager, I was creating tools for myself and for people around me. But those were always sort of hidden in my table because I never kind of tried to sell them and put them out there for the overall usage. You wanted to ask him?
Yeah, when did you start building your own stuff?
I sold my first website when I was 12.
Yeah, that's like real founder out here, like I started building my first website when I was 12.
Okay. When I was 12, I was like fighting with the sticks in the forest.
Yeah. I was reading Lord of the Rings, I guess.
I was very curious about engineering and computer stuff. And I remember when I got my first computer with the internet connection, I immediately asked my mom and my older brother, how can I make money out of this? And they're like, we don't know. But I was young. But anyway, so for all my life, I was building things. But whenever I needed to put it out there for people to purchase something or to make a legal entity or to spread the word about it, I got this mental block. I don't know what to do. It sounds difficult. Do I need to get a lawyer? Do I need to get an accountant to open the legal entity, etc., etc.? How do I pay taxes even? And that's how a lot of good ideas basically died in my table. And then I've seen new startups pop up with basically the same idea a couple of years later. But then what helped me to found a startup is to found a good co-founder. There is Dima out there, Dima Maleev, who helped me very much. And I remember having this idea about having a mentorship platform. I enjoy being a mentor myself. I enjoy sharing my knowledge with other people. So whenever, I don't think any knowledge that you cannot share is valuable. I love to share the knowledge. And I've been registered as a mentor on some of the platforms out there, but then I kind of connected this idea with the idea that I love to build stuff, and I wanted to spend my Christmas holidays basically for building the new stuff. I reached out to Dima and offered him, there's like 20 minutes journey there and back. It's gonna be very fast, low maintenance platform. I said, low maintenance thing. And he was like, yeah, let's do that. We split responsibilities. We understood how we can proceed that. And I got lucky because he actually took on himself all the legal and operational stuff and the payment system. I was purely focused on the product and building the thing. So I was focused on the thing.
On the fun part.
On the fun part. I was doing this thing I know how to do. And that's how we actually became effective and became a thing. Right now, Mentor.sh is a global platform out there. We serve people all around the world, including Ukraine. And for me, as a Ukrainian, it was... I so much appreciated seeing people from around the world taking mentorship from mentors in Ukraine. So, I felt like my mission has been accomplished in a way. Yeah, but I don't know where I'm leading with this.
I guess important takeaway is that finding a co-founder is like step zero. I mean, for me, it's the most essential thing. Like many people think that they need to, come up with idea first or whatever, business model, find investor. No, find co-founder.
Finding a co-founder that
partner.
you wouldn't hate is like critical.
Yeah.
Because it's like when you actually start to build something together, you realize that it's not only fun. It's not only fun building.
Not only fun.
At some point, you will receive like a scary letter from IRS or wherever you guys are incorporated. Or at some point, I don't know, you're gonna figure out that your payment provider wouldn't charge money. And you're like, oh my God, I'm screwed. And you really need to have someone to sort of share this with.
Yeah, and you spend more time with your co-founder than with your wife, kids, friends, whatever. It's literally like maybe one of the most important decisions in your life. So
then even if you take a look at what Y Combinator suggests as an incubator for the new startups, they have a very good free course out there. So you basically go for Y Combinator and they have this public lectures about how to build a startup. One of the first and essential things they suggest it is to find the co-founder. One of the first thing. And they even tell whenever they pick the good idea and the founder in Y Combinator, immediately they try to pair them with somebody because this shared accountability is essential to the success of the business.
I think what's crazy about building a business is that your highs are so high. Like when things go well, you really feel like, oh my God, I'm on this wave. I'm like, yeah, we are flying to the moon. But then when things get low, they get proper low. So having someone by your side who can help you to sort of drag you out of this mental trap of feeling very down is crucial.
Yeah, that's true. But tell us the story then, how you became a founder now.
That's like, I'm more like you. I've actually never wanted to. I sort of enjoyed my big ass corporate job and I was like doing really well. I didn't feel like I needed to have one, to have anything that I would build by my own. But somehow I was always leaning towards maybe a bit like you doing some pet projects, side hustles, like little quirky projects of myself. Like I remember my first business, I started to sell T-shirts out of the blue. Like I really did not want extra cash. I was doing it for vibes, you know. and as I was selling these T-shirts, I was figuring out, okay, that's how you do logistics. That's how you collect payments. That's how you handle refunds. That's what it means to actually bring your goods somewhere and sort of getting paid for that. And
Was it like, okay, now I figured out logistics, achievement unlocked. I have like a new skill.
that's how I felt.
Yeah, like a game.
Yeah, that was like super random. So I started with that. Then obviously I was doing something else. I used to organize some conferences. I'm not sure how many of you are from Kiev, but in Kiev I used to organize this event, Growth Marketing Stage and Confidence Conf, like an event for marketers and product managers. And we were like, as a business, it was a very successful enterprise. At some point I was making as much money from this as I was making from my day job. And I was like, okay, I kind of enjoy it a bit more, but also it's like, it's so high risk and it feels like, yeah, it just feels not worth it. And then I was, again, very lucky with my co-founder because he reached out to me back when I was at Preply, which is a tutor in my marketplace as well. And he's like, oh, I'm looking for someone who could potentially be a co-founder with me on these new ventures that I'm building. And at this stage, he just had a landing page on this service called Tilda and like a spreadsheet. And well, to our shame, we use one Adines, I'm not sure if that translates well, Bittrex CRM system to handle all the requests from our customers. And I was like, yeah, sweet, let's, try to sort of work on it together and see where it leads. And it's only after the war started, after we scaled to Poland, after we started to grow, well, quite rapidly. We work with 1,300 tutors and we do 60,000 lessons a month, and it's only mathematics, so it's like huge impact. And yeah, we have like a team of engineers and marketers and stuff. So now it's a real thing. And only when I started seeing some real traction, I think we were at maybe 100K in monthly sales or something like that. I was like, okay, maybe I actually need to kind of do it my real thing. Like why would I, if I'm smart, if I'm pretending like I'm smart enough to be paid to make products for someone else, why wouldn't I build them for myself, if that makes sense? So to me, it was a bit like a confidence build-up that took ages to sort of ripe.
Yeah, but essential like motivation was this independence, self-realization.
I just realized that I enjoyed it more than kind of trying to explain my boss why I'm putting this initiative into this roadmap. And I remember this, like, I love my corporate experience at Vice. It was incredible to be a part of such an incredible fintech. But what I really didn't like that at some point as a product manager, you feel that you build way less and you sort of work on your narrative way more, and it's sort of your narrative becomes way more important than what you actually build and the impact that you drive. And once I realized that my job was mostly around narrative building as opposed to building itself, I decided that I just don't enjoy it anymore.
Okay, so impact, independence, power.
I think it's more like I enjoy building things and I enjoy to be paid for that. And product as a job gives me that. But when when the building part disappears, it's no longer fun.
Yeah, makes sense. But and what drives you? Is it like this engineering desire to, just build stuff?
In a way, yeah. I think first of all, I just love to build new stuff, and I'm always constantly looking for new stuff to build. My friends hate me because I can suddenly during the night just message or call somebody with the new idea, and they treat me as crazy.
So you're the person when you're hanging out with friends that is constantly pitching you business ideas.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and they are the worst. Yeah,
yeah.
you don't want to hear all of them. But second of all, idealistically, I love the domain and the idea of our mentorship platform. I think it is useful for all of the people out there. I personally had mentees that I helped to get into companies like Apple, very same Netflix, etc. And I love how the platform gives people some goods, But yeah. A lot of stuff. Nothing like power play or.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess it was important for all three of us to figure out like our motivation behind the thing, right? Because we actually had an alternatives. As I imagine, I mean, I had no problem to work for someone else. As it's like a crucial entrepreneurial driver out there for many people. They are like, I cannot work for someone else. I only can work for myself. I'm like independent and shit. I don't care, right? If it's like an okay person, I can work for that person. But yeah, it's always important to like figure out your driver, why you want to do that, because this why also impacts the type of business that you want to build, essentially, right? If you want to build money, or you want to make money, or you want to be socially responsible, probably those are going to be different businesses.
Yeah, and I think apart from figuring out your motivation and drivers, what is important also is to learn how to validate the ideas. Because, for example, with my thing, when I have the new idea for every day or every hour, I needed to learn this skill. So
You need some reality
I
check.
think what really makes a difference when you're in this constant like brain loop of just coming up with new stuff is actually committing to something and receiving the first transaction.
Yes.
I remember when like this t-shirt business that I talked about started. When we started receiving first payments, we were like, shit, this thing is real.
yeah.
We actually need to make the t-shirts now because we didn't have any.
And you know, somehow those $10 or $15 are, you are so excited about them, and sometimes more than
and
for
music
the
from
regular.
Succession plays, you know.
Yeah, and I think I personally lean towards feeling like, oh, some business models are just better than other business models are. Like, for instance, whenever I hear about you guys, and you kind of, we just had this discussion. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, like we spend that much, and that's how much revenue we generate. I'm like, shit, we're like so bad. You know, we're just so small. But then I'm like, oh, but we are just in a completely different business. And I think the worst you could do to yourself as an entrepreneur is just comparing yourself to other entrepreneurs, because you don't see all the details, you don't see all the challenges, and the grass is always greener.
True.
So, Vlad, how do you validate ideas now?
Many different ways, but I think what worked the best for me with mentor.sh is that we immediately after we had this discussion about the idea, in a day we just put the landing out there with the wait list.
Okay.
And that's how we measured if there's any traction to the idea, if there are going to be any mentors or mentees who are curious about the platform. And in fact, the reality was even more pleasant that we got from the waitlist, which is surprisingly good. The ratio between mentees and mentors, which is essential for every marketplace, was surprisingly good, even better in reality. And after a first couple of weeks, we thought that traction, and we were like, okay, I guess we are doing this. We got to do that. And it worked for us.
Okay, so classic lean startup approach, kind of.
Sort
thing.
of, yeah, because we started, there's only two of us. We, as I said, we didn't consider it to be a big business, a big startup. Like, we always consider it to be as our pet project, as our thing, our child. That's
Okay.
By the way, why? Like you always like lean on saying, "Oh, it's my pet project." Like, why would you not want to commit and be like, "Shit, I'm gonna take it somewhere"? What stops you from kind of thinking a bit bigger than staying in this pets project mentality?
It is just enough, I think, you know? It is just enough for me. Like, I appreciate what it does. I appreciate the scale. I always would want to grow it and make it better, but I don't want to grow it at the cost of selling it to investors, for example. You know, because
I mean, they are not that bad all the time. I used to be a good VC.
I just hate
That's what
money.
you
You
say.
I used to be a good VC.
know? We can talk, but
The reason I'm asking is because I feel like I felt it as well for quite a while with our business, where we were at maybe 150K USD a month, which is like not a big amount of money, but still like considerable traction. And I've always been like, back in the day, I was like, I don't want this to scale. I want this to remain like a cash generating thing. And I want this to sort of pay my bills, and that's it. And in my humble opinion, and again, it doesn't mean that my experience should, in any way impact your behavior. But in my opinion, it's a bit of a trap, because you can't fully commit to a thing, and then it doesn't grow for reasons unknown, because maybe you're not committed enough, or maybe you just didn't kind of test a lot of things that had to be tested. And then it starts to frustrate you, because not necessarily every business needs to grow, but I do think that if you don't see any growth, or like not necessarily in monetary value, but like in traction or engagement or impact or whatever is important to you, then it's really hard to stay motivated. Like a chart needs to be like pointing towards up and right. It could be like this, it could be like that, but that's what, in my opinion, keeps you motivated on the long run. It's really hard to stay motivated just by being, it's a small things that.
And moreover, I mean, you personally as a founder, you can stay motivated with cash flow, right? But it's super hard to motivate the team if the thing is not growing. I mean, it's like, when people ask me, okay, Sasha, how do you motivate the team to work a lot? And I say like, I don't. I mean, if business is growing, they are motivated themselves, right? It's growing. They succeed at what they do. They do a good job. They love it. I mean, and they're driven by it. I guess it's like, it's tough to motivate people when the times are tough. But when the times are good, when this thing is booming, right? It's so easy. You need to sometimes actually tell them to, whoa, don't push the horses, because this whole thing can crack. And I guess that's like, that's what I'm trying to always do as like a founder, to make my job as a CEO easier and not to motivate people, actually, is to create those wins for them and create those growth opportunities for the company.
But then what do you do when things go south? Because that's what I find tricky when building a company, because it's all good when your chart is, pointing towards up and right. You're like, yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
We're on the rocket ship. But at some point, something happens, you can't be always growing. So what's your take on it?
I mean, you kind of like, okay, we had like 3 bad months last year when it was pretty dire.
It was like proper bad.
It was like proper bad. We had like compliance issues, and we downscaled like 6 times. It was like really bad, and everyone else was growing, which is also, when you're building like inside the venture builder and like metrics of other people and they are growing and you're not growing, it's like it makes the situation times worse. And so the things that I definitely do in such cases, so first of all, I try to be a good role model, right? So if I walk into an office and I'm sad, or I'm low energy, or I'm depressed, or I lash out at people, and I show that things are bad, so they will multiply this reaction, right? So they will feel it also. So I try to be high energy, positive, tell everything will be okay, make some productive things, don't criticize, but actually rather make good calls. Or I tend to arrive first at the office and go last. So I try to be a good role model and to lead by example, I guess. So that's the only way I know how to make it happen, right? So maybe it shouldn't work like that. Maybe it's not applicable to everyone, but that's the only way I can do it, I guess.
To me personally, I think that reasonable positivity always works. I think people kind of feel it straight away when you are overly excited to sort of make them excited. But if you just go full on negative, then you can't really expect your employees or your like teammates or your co-founders to stay stable. And that's coming back to a kind of picking the right co-founder question. What I think is really important is that you both don't have your down times at the same time, because when it happens, that's really dark. Like when with my co-founder, I just arrived on Friday and we spent like this weekend working, and on Saturday we were just so dark, or like really bad mood, bad vibes, and it feels like everything's just going, like really, really south. And then it takes a bit of time to sort of re-energize each other, and you just see a business in a completely different way. And I do think that, like, if there's one learning that I took out of this entire entrepreneurial journey of mine, is that your energy management is probably the main thing that drives your company. If you can't control your energy, there's no way you can control your company.
But I guess you can always find energy.
Well, I'm terrible with that, so I'm kind of learning. But I know some people, they have their routines on how to maintain it, how to maintain high energy, how to stay in a positive mood. I don't know how to do that, so I like fall back on sports, or fall back on social activities, or fall back on going out. So I try to sort of create these moments of pure joy, even when it's not that. If things are not going that well, but I don't do it in a systematic way. And I think you need to have this routine and do it more systematically.
Okay. Vlad, where do you find energy for side hustle?
In a lot of places. First of all, my partner, my wife, and my friends who fulfill them and make my life richer. Second of all, I think, basically routine and the structure in my day, week, or the months is very dear to me. I know that I need to do sports sort of daily. I know that I need 1 or 2 hours for some particular stuff. Mentor.sh is not my primary stuff, right? So I work at Netflix and I have full-time work there. And it also fulfills me. Mentor.sh for me just has a different kind of work, which also fulfills me. So I think all of the different sides of my life composes in a good picture that makes me feel good about it. But it doesn't mean that I feel good all the time. Obviously, whenever I try to, for example, prepare for the conference, for the talk at the main stage, or whenever things, as you say, go south in mentor.sh, or there's just too much work at Netflix, I need to put the priorities out there. And sometimes my friends cannot see me for 2 months. It's good that my wife can see me every day, hopefully. And sometimes
Don't you have a bed in office?
now we have better office, yes. But anyway, so it is just I'm thankful that everybody around me is so understanding of my goals in my life. That supports me, and that's where I find the fulfillment as well.
No, that's very important. And how do you deal with, so we shared, how do we deal with things when they go south, right, in the business? So what do you do? What do you focus on? How do you cope with those challenges?
Well, it depends, right? So again, we don't have the team, so that's
Yet.
where maybe yet, right? So after this conversation,
Growth
I will be,
mindset.
yeah, will be speaking and making me consider venture capital. I know that, but first of all, having a direct and honest conversations with my co-founder to support each other. But sometimes we both go south and we both do not have enough mood. But then, this is life. I just got used to be depressed all the time.
Oh, I love that. Well, very unconventional take. I talked to a friend recently who is a founder, like a first-time founder himself as well, and he's in this sort of Silicon Valley, like bro culture. And honestly, when I just look at his social, he's always so pumped, and like I'm doing this, like we are closing that much revenue. Oh my god! And then I had him on the phone recently. I was like, I really want to kind of learn from you. How do you keep this energy balance all the time? I was like, no, it's fine. I'm just taking Coke for the last months every morning. I'm like, okay. So that's also not a very healthy way
Yeah,
of doing
so
that.
start the day with a line, right? About being depressed all the time. Actually, we had this like panel discussion, like event for I know some entrepreneurs, whatever, and I told like a phrase that okay, yeah, building business is like suffering all the time, basically, and they were like, no, it's fun and stuff like that. But I said at some point you have to enjoy it, and I'm like, yeah, but I learned to enjoy suffering, right? That's the point. I mean,
In a way, yeah. I think I was doing endurance sports for a while.
For sure.
And I just recently broke my knee, and now I need to recover for the next 12 months. That's where I try to find the fulfillment in any other things. But I remember the times when my friend made me to go run 5K, run 10K, 21, and then the full marathon. And this thing makes you humble. This thing makes you appreciate the suffering, the pain in a good way.
carrying the boats.
Yes, like
My God, I'm so into carrying the boats.
you kind of, alone with yourself, with your thoughts, and you need to focus on a good thing, that somewhere there's a finish, somewhere there's a line.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I do agree that running is very humbling. Like if you do some long distance running, or I don't know, some really big endurance challenges, that helps you to be a better entrepreneur, in my opinion.
Yeah. I actually always hated those things. I hate running, swimming. I hate all the things when I need to like compete with myself. But I do love like team sports or tennis. Like show me someone to beat and I will die on the court, but I will beat them.
But running is a bit like that as well. You kind of set a goal, set the pace, and you try to sort of get there faster than another guy.
Yeah, yeah, that's and in a business, I tend to like find an enemy and just say, like as Zach did. I guess that's like the story when Google Plus, was emerging, was released, and he wrote on the wall like Carthage must die or must be burned, destroyed, whatever, referring to Google Plus. And yeah, I tend to promote the thing in my company, and I'm totally led by those things. It's more fucked up motivation than be better than yourself to yesterday. But if it works, it works.
I think the topics that we haven't covered yet is hiring in general. I appreciate you guys don't have teammates yet, but like we'll come to the point of hiring someone at some point, according to what you've said yourself. But coming back, like building the team, like you can't just build the business by yourself. We have a full room of people who might want at some point to build something, and it's so cool and vibes when you do it by yourself because you control it.
Yeah.
But hiring, what's your take?
By the way, I never wanted to be a manager. Max also worked with me like a lot and persuaded me that Sasha, you need to actually work with other people. You need to manage them, and the way he persuaded me to actually do that is that he was like, yeah, you can multiply your results with that. I'm like, say what? Okay, yeah, I can take that. But yeah, hiring is the single most important thing you can do. There is like 80%. Like a year ago, I was doing lots of stuff hands-on. I was, making marketing creatives, going into ads manager, all product or funnels releases were going through me. I was verifying everything, every piece of content that we would write and publish on the platform. I was verifying that. So like every aspect of the business was built around me. But then company grows and stuff like that. And at some point, I realized that 80% of what I'm doing are interviews and headhunting and hiring, and that is the single most important thing you can do. Especially for me, because I'm a really bad manager. I suck at people management. I'm a bad manager. My one-on-ones are terrible and stuff like that. But I believe I'm a really good hiring manager, that I can hire pretty well, and that's what I tend to focus on a lot. And that's the most important thing you can do. And it's the trickiest thing you can do because, you need to find out enough about the person to predict their performance for the next 2 years in like 3 hours of talking with them. That's crazy how illogical it sounds.
Yeah, I do agree it's tricky. But coming back to you guys, the first person you're going to hire, how are you going to do it?
I should say that I first of all will hire to Netflix to my immediate team. There was a QR code on the main platform.
Oh my God, you're cheeky. Like we're splitting this referral bonus now.
Please reach out to me if you're looking to land a job on Netflix. Mentor.sh. If we were hire, I think probably we would focus on sales and marketing, and that's vector. Like we understand that we are very good at what we've done, but we have no idea about those areas. Like we practiced some, we had our wins, we had our fails, but I think having some expertise in there externally or internally if we hire would be something very interesting to us.
So marketing and sales. Would you consider taking on a marketing and sales co-founder?
That's a tricky question. I was advised not to. Because usually what people suggest is to hire or at least get a consultant like a fractional CMO to help you with the strategy. And then once that's done, it is just to execute. But I've seen some disagreement.
I think that execution beats ideas and strategies all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Find marketing co-founder. Like distribution is the
Yeah,
most
that's what
important
I
thing
would
in
have
every
done
business.
if I were you. Yeah,
Interesting.
because I like not necessarily a co-founder, but someone with a significant option if you want to obviously pursue this route. But I do agree that in our case, building a marketing team, I think it took us probably like 2.5 years, and like we've changed so many people, and some of them were just all right. Some of them were like really bad hires. Some of them were good, but maybe not a good fit for us. And it's just like finding this setup where your marketing actually starts to work is really tricky. I think in your case, it's way more standardized because you have like the blueprints of the sort
Yeah,
of.
but still, it's never a question of what to do. Everyone on the market is doing the same thing. But
They
then,
know what needs to be
yeah,
done.
but
We all
then,
play the same game.
Like the pace and the level of quality
Yeah.
makes the difference, and you need to be 5% better, like in every aspect, and then this difference compounds that you are times better than a different company. But yeah, in every individual aspect, you can be only like 5%, 10% better because everyone is essentially doing the same thing. It's not a rocket science, and that's why I say it's all about execution, because yeah, you need to hire a right person to be able to deliver faster and slightly better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's don't go to consultants.
Interesting, because that's basically what I got as an advice from a friend of mine who is also a founder. So
Okay.
you might make a good podcast with them.
Yeah. I love arguing with people.
Yeah,
Anyways, are we taking any questions from the room?
we could.
We can, right?
I have no idea for how long do we stay here, actually. Can you answer us?
Yeah, so we have some more minutes and we have time for questions. Why not?
Yeah, sure.
Ask
We ran out of topics, I guess.
Yeah, just raise your hand. Comment to you.
Yeah. Thank you for your speech. It was really interesting to hear about it. I'm interested about how to attract the first customers. You said that when you have an idea of startup, like SaaS, and you create a landing page where you can get emails of potential customers, where I get you a source of people where you attract. It's like organic traffic from your social media, or it's ads from Facebook, Google that you buy from your money, or like you need some first investment to get first customers. Oh, it's interesting to hear what was your case. Thank you.
I can start because I have a really funny story.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do.
when
Because
we-
I will flip the question entirely.
Well, finding your customer is probably more important than building a thing. That's why I do think you need someone to do marketing properly. However, in our case, quite early. So again, we're building a tutoring platform for math tutors, and we were like, how do we actually acquire people who might want to take math lessons? And we were doing Facebook, obviously, back in the day, and like we were doing a bit of Google ads, but it was just like we were really bad in this game back in the day. So in Ukraine, we have this website called kabanchik.com on .net, whatever, and we basically hired a few people who went to like very like widely populated residential area of Kyiv, putting little leaflets on the door with our website, and like little pieces of paper with the phone numbers that you could sort of steal and call us, and sort of that's how we started attracting customers. Well, full disclosure, didn't work, but was a really funny project to do. We kind of tried to do some A/B testing of this little pieces of information. But answering your question, I think that, well, it's problematic if you're building something without knowing where people who want to use it exist. And again, I think it's a bit different from like classic B2C apps, because B2C products in general, because in B2C, like you know where to find them. As we were discussing, it's all the same game. You just go on social and you need to figure out how to acquire them from social, and the playbooks are there. You just need to make sure you can execute. But if you build something a bit more sophisticated, I know, like a product that targets businesses, for instance, you really need to sort of know how to find these first 10 people in real life. Like ideally, you need to have them on your LinkedIn, or ideally you need to know them in real life, because that's your first customer. So always, you can't just go to investor and say, hey, give me a bunch of money to acquire my first 10 customers. It's not gonna land. Like, the cost of building is just so low right now. I mean, obviously, I'm not talking about like proper scalable systems and stuff, but like building your MVP is actually really, really simple. And if you don't have any customers to show, if you don't have any traction to show, that's really problematic, because no one's gonna fund whatever you've built. So I would just kind of dismiss the investor route straight away. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but you can also just build your professional brand in the niche that you're solving for. I think that helps to sort of put your word out there and make sure that people see what you're building. But focus on customers first and product later. That's maybe the main advice.
Yeah, I totally agree. Start with distribution. You need to ask a question, okay, which growth channel do I have? Do I know how to execute? And then ask yourself, what is the best product I can build for this distribution channel? So if you actually have like 10 businesses that you can sell to, ask yourself, okay, what will they all buy? And build a thing that they would love. And then figure out the next problem, which is how to scale it. But then it will be times easier and you will have something to show for to the investors.
Agreed.
So maybe one more question, and that's it. If someone has,
But make it a good one,
yeah.
provocative.
There's one I can
Do
say.
you promise? A good question.
Wow.
That's really far.
Just go into another stage.
Hi, I'm sorry for standing that far and you need to walk. So, like probably many people here are thinking about starting their own business. And me being a founder, but before being an employee for many years, it was always scary to do so. And right now I launched my own company, and what drives me is just a feeling that I know what I'm doing. And what is your advice on that regard? What should you take as your idea to launch a startup if you want? Do you understand the question or not? Yeah.
But basically, what drives you, right?
No, it's like your advice on choosing what to do, like what company to launch for those who
Okay,
are
so
thinking
how to
about,
pick an idea, essentially.
Yes.
Okay.
What should drives you?
But once again, it's a derivative from what drives you and from co-founders that you have. So what I believe strongly is that you need to ask yourself, like, okay, what do I want to achieve? If you want to build something, I don't know, big, it's different than if you want to build like a steady cash flow, small B2B SaaS, you know, with stable MRR. Those gonna be like different companies, you know? So what I would ask myself is like, okay, what is my goal? What do I want to achieve in the long run? Whom can I build it with? And what are we good at? And it's way better to build something you're good at than to build something that is hyping on the market. If you don't know anything about AI, don't build an AI product. And don't mind that they are not.
Can't say that. Like,
No, I can. There shouldn't be AI in everything, you know, guys. So
It's better to build blockchain, right?
yeah, it's like blockchain for years ago. Like people would just put blockchain in everything. Like, why would you do that?
But I want to piggyback on that and add that there are lots of ideas out there. And sometimes you might be too focused on the idea you have and try to address and grow that for years. I think what also is very important to make sure that you measure your success constantly and you pivot your idea at the right moment. Probably 75% of the startups that are coming to Y Combinator are pivoting in the first 6 to 12 months.
And those are really good founders.
Yeah. So I think all of us shouldn't be afraid of pivoting in the early stages of the startup. One of the very interesting story about one of the biggest pivots of the startup in the world from Y Combinator was Slack, because Slack initially, they were building a game. And while they were building a game, they needed some place where they can chat with each other and track the progress of their work. They started to build an internal tool, Slack, And then they understood that nobody needs their game. And they focused on absolutely different thing, and that's how they pivoted. So maybe what I'm trying to call out, stress your idea day to day to make sure that this is the best one. Because what's really important when you build a startup is to throw dices to every time, every day, or as frequently as possible, because that's the only way to win it.
I'll just maybe add the last note from me as well. I think, well, I've only been in B2C. I've never built in B2B. That's because I hate building for businesses. And maybe at some point I'll start to like money more and try to pivot to that. But as a general rule, I like to build for the customers I can sort of interact with, see them, hear their stories. And I think the most exciting bit of building in B2C is seeing how your product might change like regular lives. Like recently, we received this message from a friend who, like, you know how houses and residential buildings, they have sort of chats, like OSBB chats and stuff. And she sent me a screenshot of someone sharing our product in one of the OSBB chats. And that made me so excited. I was like, now this thing is real. You know, people are sharing it between one another. It's so exciting. And I think for the longest time, I felt like our startup is just so broken. And it's like everything looked like crap from the wizard. We might have had good facade, but like everything on the background just worked really badly. And that stopped me from being proud of what we were building. It stopped me from being excited. And I was, for the longest time, was not even telling people what I was building. Not because I was not excited about the idea, but because I just felt that there's nothing to be proud of, you know, even though all the growth metrics were there, even though like all the traction was there, we were like building a real thing. And I think the faster you're gonna accept that your business is always gonna feel like a broken machine, the faster you're gonna accept that it's never gonna be perfect, the better it is for you and your mental health. So find something that you're comfortable with being broken. Find the niche you're not gonna be ashamed to talk your friends and mom about, and make sure you're building it with good people.
Wow, what a great end.